Hey YouTubers and toy train lovers, a little treat for you. On one of my Facebook pages, someone was asking how to convert their little cable car toy, which are sold as souvenirs in San Francisco, over to O-scale and get it to run on O-scale track. And it's really quite easy. I received this when I was probably maybe 10 or 11 years old. We bought it at Woolworths at Powell and Market, and which is where the cable car turnaround is. And that goes all the way to Bay and Taylor Streets, and you'll see that Bay and Taylor Street sign on the top, which takes you down to Fisherman's Wharf. So you really go over some steep hills, and it's really thrilling. It was really a lot of fun. So this brings back some fond memories. And this is, I call it tin. It's probably pressed steel. I haven't tried to put a magnet on it yet. It was made in Taiwan. A little teeny tiny sign there. Litho, made in Taiwan. And I think they did a great job on the lithography. This was obviously a slow day. There's hardly anybody on the car. And this is number 504. And once again, Bay and Taylor. And this is another one that my mother bought me when I was younger. And this was made in Japan. Remember how we used to complain about crap made in Japan? Well, that stuff made in Japan was a whole lot better than the stuff we're getting made in China. And you'll see how nice the lithography is. And this is generally how jammed these cars really are. Look what a great job they did with the lithography. And you can even see somebody holding a newspaper and read the writing on there that says Herb Caen, which was a famous columnist for the San Francisco Chronicle. So at any rate, we'll get past my jibber jabber about cable cars, and I'll show you how I converted this over to a O-scale item. And it was a no-brainer. I simply change hands here. Removed a couple of the traction wheels from the bottom of this item and put on a K-line motor. And I noticed one of my YouTube subscribers, Nathan Five Chimes, has just done the same thing with an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. And it runs really great, and so does this. And one nice thing about these is that they've got a regulated speed. They don't go real fast, so you're not gonna run them off the track. And you can see how well built this is. It's all tab and slot, just like Marx were. And this has got hard rubber wheels. Like I said, at one time these were, this was a traction motor, and you would run it across the floor, had a bell, and it would go ding, 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 like this. And that's what the real cable cars sound like. So let's put this back on the track. Oh, and you'll notice this motor, this arrow pointing forward. That was to remind dummy me that this is a one-way motor. And so this is the front of the cable car right up here. So I didn't mount it backwards. So I believe I used some silicone when I put it on there. And Nathan used screws, but he had a completely different kind of mounting surface. And so they both worked out quite well. So I'm going to run this around the track a few times. Nothing too exciting. It's not going to derail itself. Like I say, it goes quite slow. Ring the bell. I've got the towel laying on the bell. That was brilliant. How about now? That sounds better. Nice and quiet. Now I even installed a little light in there. Can't have a cable car without a light. And for those of you who don't know what cable cars are, there is no motor in this, nothing to propel it. There is a cable that runs where the third rail would be on this track that's underground. And this little fella, if you can see him, it sits right in the middle, has a contraption. It's a long, it looks like a brake on a railroad train, but it's probably where they got the idea. He grabs that underground cable is constantly moving for miles at a constant speed. He will grab onto that cable and let loose his brakes so you don't jolt everybody, and it'll allow the cable to propel the car. And they've been running these for, I don't know, well over 100 years. This is before they had internal combustion engines. And I've been into the original building where they still propel all the cables. And it's fascinating. It's a museum now, but it's still working. And the guy who invented this, believe it or not, his father sold cables. And because of the really steep hills in San Francisco, buggies and horse and wagons weren't making it over the cobblestone streets, and in rainstorms they were sliding sideways. Horses were being injured and killed. People were being injured and killed. So he came up with a cable car, and it was a great success. It primarily runs now because I don't think I'd want to, if I was a tourist, I don't think I'd want to go to San Francisco unless I could ride the cable car. So that's why they're still going. It's to bring in the tourist. But they are still packed, I hear. So anyway, this is my little O-gauge operating cable car with my little hotel desk bell off to the side that I'm operating with my left hand. And that's just about what these bells sound like. And you'll see this white thing on top. That's supposed to represent the bell. And every year in San Francisco in Union Square, they'll have a big bell ringing contest. And the operators will vie against each other, and they'll pick the best bell ringer. And there are some fantastic bell ringers. I've gone to those, and you just cannot believe how good they are at keeping up a tune. Or I can't imagine the strength in their arms that they're running the brakes. They're running the I would call it a clutch to grab the cable, and then ringing the bell at the same time. So I've seen cabs pulling front of them, cut in front of them, and boy, they hit that bell loud, and that cab will get out of the way, hopefully. Because if they don't, these things are a lot bigger than a cab. You're going to have a crunch cab. One problem is no seat belts. People sitting here jump off and on And so it is a little bit, I guess it's a little bit scary. Mom made me ride inside first time. And then when I got to be about, 11 or 12, I got to ride outside, but Dad had his arm around me, so I wasn't tempted to stand on this little step and lean off to look ahead. And you will see a lot of people, they'll grab the pole here, and they'll lean out and look ahead, which isn't real smart because you've got buses and other vehicles coming by. You could fall off and be killed. So anyway, it's still one of the coolest ways to travel that I've ever seen and that I've ever had the pleasure to experience. So if you ever are lucky enough to go to San Francisco, ride the cable car and ride the Bay and Taylor. That has the most spectacular scenes. So that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. And once again, this has been a Big Lizard production. Bye-bye.